Up part 2 NFL season preview. We're going to talk NFC teams, playoff teams, Super Bowl champions. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned.
Go this time on a three-man rush. Going to backpedal, buy more time. Got to be somebody open now. Yes, yes, there is. Like I said, another three-man rush right here.
Hello and welcome back. It's this part 2 of America's most beloved podcast, NFL season preview. I'm your host, Pat Bradley, joined as always by my friends and co-hosts, Carl Mann and Tommy Sullivan. And this is a three-man rush podcast. If you're listening to this podcast, hopefully you just listened to part 1 where we covered the AFC season 2023 season preview. Right now, we're going to dive right in. No pleasantries. We know each other. You know us. We know us. Blah, blah, blah. Let's talk NFC football, diving right in. And we're going to go right into the NFC East, home of the defending NFC Conference champion, Philadelphia Eagles. We'll find out if the three of us think they're going to repeat that feat this year. But Carl, I'm gonna lead off with you this time. Why don't you break down the NFC East for me and tell us and our listeners who we think is going to win and what order the division will finish in?
Yeah, happy to lead us off. Right now, looking at the odds, the Eagles are minus 135 to win the NFC East. Cowboys are second in odds at plus 195. And then there's a huge drop off for the Giants and the Commanders. So for me, I think there is a decent amount of value on the Eagles at only minus 135 there. I think that they are the best team still in their division. We talked about it last year on the preview pod. They were like our sneaky pick based on their schedule. Not a tough schedule this year, kind of middle of the road. Last year they had a super easy schedule to kind of get them to those wins, but they showed that they were a good enough team to continue that through the playoffs. So I think they're going to be the best team in the division. I think the Cowboys are still going to be good. I just wouldn't roll the dice with only plus 195 odds for the Cowboys. I'd rather, spend that somewhere else. And I think at minus 135, you're pretty close to even odds. Like that's something that, I'm not usually a fan of picking a favorite with minus odds to win the division, but 135 is not that bad. You could throw money on that if you think the Eagles are going to be. That's way better than looking at like Chiefs, like we talked about at 165. Like 165, it's kind of throwing money away. Like you're betting on it, like they should win. You'd be pissed if they lost. If you get 135 odds, like if you win, it's a good return. But if you lose, like whatever. You wouldn't want to lose your $100 betting on the Cowboys to win. Especially, it is the Cowboys. So what are they going to do for you? Lose games at Thanksgiving and then never win a game in December?
That's rough. But I agree. 135 is pretty good value. You're just laying an extra $35 to win 100. We like that at the end of the day.
Right. And it's obviously like over the course of the season. So I think as the season progresses, it's going to get worse and worse for the Eagles. I don't see the Eagles ever losing being the favorites unless they drop a handful of games very early. A handful not even being 5, but like if they start off the season hypothetically 3-3 and the Cowboys start off like 5-1, 4-2, then maybe you get better odds than that. But I don't think you're going to get better odds than 135 for the whole season. So I think if you think they're going to win it, I would take them right from the bat. I'm not really a fan of futures personally, so I'm not going to put my own money on that. I'm just going to bet week by week. But I do think they're the best team in the division. We'll talk about if I think they're the best team in the conference later on. But definitely, that's right. Definitely over the Cowboys for me. So, and then talk about the Giants and Commanders real quick. No shot. No shot.
None.
For them. Giants, I think could get to 500 specifically. Like
playoff team last year. Those New York Football Giants.
Yeah, as like a personal victory for the Giants, awesome. And then Commanders just bottom of the barrel, bottom tier.
Not a big fan of Sam Howell.
Nope. Washington's defense could be good, and by could be good, I don't mean like top 5 at all, top 10. Still middle of the road, but like their defense is going to be their best attributes, and I don't think it goes beyond like the front seven. Like I think their secondary still has a bunch of holes. I think who's that? Chase Young.
Mm-hmm.
He's like their star player, but that's about it.
Yeah,
I mean, unless Will Compton signs back on for the Commanders, I'm almost said
Year
a slur
11
here. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm staying off of the Commanders winning the division for sure. I mean, if you want to, be a gambling person, you could definitely get plus 1,300. I mean, 100 to win 1,300. That's good return, but I don't think it's gonna come anywhere close to being accurate. So
yeah, I think I'm gonna go out on a limb and say we all agree that they should finish in last place in their division. And be careful, like that defense could be good. Last year we thought they were gonna be good, because they were good 2 years ago. I mean, good is relative, but pretty good, right? Good defense for a bad team, and no dice whatsoever. So be careful with that. So you're going Eagles, Cowboys,
Giants, Commanders.
Okay.
Which is chalk, but at the same time, like, I mean, I'll give the Cowboys enough credit to like they're gonna be a contender potentially. Again, it just depends on how the season shakes out. A contender for their division. I don't think they're a contender for the top spot in the conference, but the Eagles could have some games slip away. The Cowboys could get hot, and it could be right down to the wire. But for me, I still think there's a couple games difference between the Eagles and the Cowboys. So
I'm right there with you in terms of the division leader, especially because did you know that there has not been a repeat NFC East division winner? So you have to go all the way back to when the Eagles were in the Super Bowl with Andy Reid.
Wow.
03-04 was
Pretty
the last
crazy.
time. It's
crazy.
insane. And so I think that streak gets broken this year. I think the Eagles are I agree with you. I don't think that they are the clear-cut number one team in the conference, but they're definitely in that upper echelon in terms of NFC conference teams. Where we differ though is I think that the bigger battle is going to be that 2 and 3 spots in those divisions. I think the Giants and the Cowboys are a lot closer than what people are saying. I think it's going to go Eagles, Giants, Cowboys, Commanders, and especially I like Sam Howell, but Chase Young still is recovering from the injury that he suffered. I think it was 2 seasons ago now. He's not even a guarantee to be playing week 1 as he is still rehabbing from that.
Well, and he got that stinger in the preseason too.
Yeah, and it's like every time he comes back, he gets nicked up again, and I mean I feel bad for him because he had such a good rookie season, and then it's just been devastation ever since then. Hopefully the ownership change over in Washington helps turns things around a little bit there. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like the Eagles are the easy pick for the division winner here. I feel like the Cowboys sneaky took lots of steps back. I like Deuce Vaughn, but it's hard to put a lot. It's putting a lot of pressure on a rookie to step into Ezekiel Elliott's shoes. Can you trust Tony Pollard as a bell cow running back? He wore down a lot in the second half of the season last year. So can he really be trusted to be that number one running back? I'm not sure. After CeeDee Lamb, they acquired Brandon Cooks, I think he's still 29, 30, but he has a lot of miles. He came into the league very, very young, so he's a very old 29. They acquired Stephon Gilmore to be number 2 in the secondary. He's old. He's still good, but he's still old. Trayvon Diggs is still overrated. He had a bounce back season, but he's still looked at as a top 5 cornerback, and I don't even know if he's top 20 personally.
He gets burned a lot for a guy that won Defensive Player of the Year.
Yes. And I don't know. I just feel like that team, they let Dalton Schultz go for nothing, and he was a very underrated tight end, and they have a rookie stepping in.
Safety blanket for Dak.
Yep. And so they kind of left Dak out to dry a little bit, and I don't know. There was a lot of moves personnel wise that they made that I don't see it. Maybe they'll surprise me and be competitive with Philly, but I think that they have fallen back a little bit towards the Giants, where the Giants have made a little bit marginal improvements that'll make that 2-3 battle. It'll be interesting to watch, but I would choose the Giants over the Cowboys for me personally. So my division ranking is Philly, Giants, Cowboys, Commanders in that order.
I'm going to keep it brief. I 100% agree with you. Cowboys, there's a lot of Cowboys buzz because it's August. Well, I guess today's September 1st, which is when the buzz begins to die. We're just a few days closer to the Cowboys buzz just falling off. So apologies to your brother-in-law, Carl. But I
was like my brother-in-law. Who are we talking about?
Your brother-in-law, father-in-law. I don't know. There's
both of them.
There's so many random football fandom in your wife's side of the family. I don't know. I can't keep it straight. A lot of bandwagoners up there in Syracuse. No, I'm kidding. Just geographically challenged. Anyway, listen, the Eagles are going to win the division, barring an injury to Jalen Hurts. He took the leap that I needed to see last year. In the preview pod, I was like, listen, is he going to be a good fantasy quarterback or a good real life quarterback? And he was definitively both. They were very close to winning it. They should have won the Super Bowl.
Blame the turf god.
Yeah, turf gods, refs, Patrick Mahomes being Patrick Mahomes. You know, maybe it was just in the script. It was pretty close. It was an excellent Super Bowl. We skipped that podcast. We were just so sick of talking to each other for 6 months that we never broke that down. But they should have won the Super Bowl. Will there be a hangover? Look, I think they got better. Philly people sneaky think that the defense got worse, which I don't agree with. They got younger. Like DeAndre Swift, everybody's overlooking him right now. And I think like leaving Detroit, getting off that turf, going in onto a team that doesn't need him, but he can thrive on, like, I don't know, shades of Darren Sproles, dare I say. I like the Eagles a lot, and I think we're going to see that. I mean, we did because they went to the Super Bowl, but I think we're going to see this year that it was not a fluke based on their weak strength of schedule to perform as well as they did. So they're going to win the division, and I think the Giants took more steps forward than the Cowboys, and like I'll believe the Cowboys buzz when I see it. We don't have to relitigate. I'm just not a Dak Prescott believer. Sorry. Used to love him. I still like him. He's fun, but I just don't think he's not better than Kirk Cousins. And we saw what my guy Kirk Cousins did to me in the playoffs. He lost to the Giants. Those Giants. So all right. Eagles, Giants, Cowboys, Commanders are not worth talking about. Congrats on the new owner. That's a win. That's the win that you need, truly.
Yeah, they could go 0-17, and those fans will be happy because they know the future is bright just based on ownership level. But to your point about the running backs in Philly, the greatest win that they had this offseason was the NFL not outlawing the tush push play, because DeAndre Swift doesn't have to worry about doing those hard runs. Jalen Hurts could lead the NFL in rushing touchdowns just based off that. I don't know how they didn't outlaw that play.
He's the goal line bell cow.
He's the vulture.
Exactly. Okay. Great. Well, we're all pretty much in agreement there. Slightly different on 2-3, but Tommy, I don't think either one of us would be surprised if the Cowboys finished second, won 12 games again, and made the playoffs, right?
Yeah, it'll be close.
So, good division. We'll see if the Giants can repeat that success. I'm betting that they will. All right, we're going to move on to the NFC North here, where for the first time in a long time, the Packers do not have a Hall of Famer starting at quarterback. At least we don't think. Apologies to Jordan Love on
first time in our lifetime.
Pretty much, yeah. I think,
would say.
yeah, exactly. Favre and Rodgers. So we've got the Lions, we've got the Bears, and we've got my Minnesota Vikings. I mean, do you need me to lead this off because I'm such a Skol Vikings believer?
I think you can.
Let's let you get your Kirk Cousins love out of the way early so everyone can hear it, and then Tommy and I can just tear you down once you build it up for Kirk Cousins.
Great. I think Justin Jefferson could he could once again win Offensive Player of the Year, and there's a world, even with Kirk Cousins in 2023, where Justin Jefferson breaks the Randy Moss wide receiver records.
I thought you were going to say there's a world where Kirk Cousins wins MVP.
No. Because that's where the good things for the Vikings end. I don't know that we're getting a leap forward in year 2 with Kevin O'Connell. Listen, I love Kirk. I enjoy him. If anybody watched the quarterback show on Netflix, listen, it didn't make me like him less. I am just now convinced that if he didn't play quarterback, he would be Ned Flanders from The Simpsons in real life. Otherwise, let's see how Kevin O'Connell handles adversity and how that defense performs. There's no Dalvin Cook now, so we've got Alexander Madison with a full-time role, maybe 5 years too late. I don't think they're going to suck, but I don't think they're going to go like 13-1 or 13-2 or 13-3, however they started last year when I was looking great for my best record bet. I don't think that's happening this year. So I can't believe I'm going to do this. I think I might go with the Lions as my NFC North division winner because I think the Vikings take a step back, the Lions take a step forward, the Bears are mediocre, and I expect the Packers to suck. That was a bad team with Aaron Rodgers. They're going to be worse without him. Sorry. Unless Jordan Love shocks the world and all of us. So put it on the books. Lions, Vikings, Packers, maybe Bears. We'll go Packers 3, Bears 4. I just don't believe in the Bears. That's probably like the worst take of the podcast.
No, I mean that's pretty close to where I am. I was waffling between the Lions and the Vikings. I'm not gonna lie, so it was pretty close for me. I'm actually as I'm thinking it out of my head, I think it's going to be the closest divisional race in the NFC. To be completely, actually no, the NFC South is just full of suckitudes, so that's going to be closest by default.
Suckitude's a good word.
So I'm leaning towards you as well. I went into this picking the Vikings, but now that I think about the defense aspect of it all, I'm going to lean Lions as my division winner. I still do like the pieces. Like I love Jordan Addison as a number 2 wide receiver. I think he can step right into that Adam Thielen role day one, and I think he's going to be like a sneaky, really good fantasy pick as a rookie wide receiver. Alexander Madison kind of reminds me of like when Michael Turner left the Chargers as like a number 2 back and went to the Falcons and was immediately like an impact guy. Mm-hmm. Like when he stepped in when Dalvin Cook was out, he was really, really good. His numbers pop off the chart. It comes down to like Phillip Rivers isn't a Hall of Fame QB. He was like a Hall of Great QB, and like Kirk Cousins is like dollar store Phillip Rivers.
I think that's a pretty fair comp. Yeah,
like he's a starting caliber quarterback in this league. He will never.
He's strictly mediocre.
Yeah, and he'll post like above average numbers every now and then that'll make you think like, oh, maybe there's something there. But and now he's on the wrong side of 30. He's on the back end of his career, and you're starting to see those mental lapses pop up more and more as you saw in the playoffs last year. It's just, and I think that the Lions are on the upswing, whereas the Vikings are on the downswing of their window, and that's why I have the Lions first, Vikings second. I have the Bears ahead of the Packers, simply because I don't see it with Jordan Love at all, and I just think they're skill players. Their windows don't match up. Aaron Jones is too old for running back. Their wide receivers are too young for Jordan Love to help them, and their defense is not very impactful. So I have the Packers just taking a nosedive. If the Cardinals weren't there, they would be a perfect team for Caleb Williams. But
did I say Packers Bears 3-4 or Bears Packers? I don't remember.
You said Packers 3.
Great. I wrote that down wrong on our little sheet here, so I'm going to correct it. I gotta stand up for my epilepsy bro, Justin Fields. Carl,
jeez.
Tell me what the magical sheet says. But I mean, I feel like the Bears and Packers are going to be fighting for, I don't know, 5 wins. Which one can be worse?
Yeah, I would love to talk about teams that are going to win 5 games. But talking about last year, did you know that the estimated wins for the Lions was 9.7? And the estimated wins, let me scroll down here, for the Vikings was 6.3. We talked about it all last season, how they were just pulling out games that they should not have won. which again, that's sometimes the quality of a great team, except for the fact that they were not supposed to win any of those games that they won. So regression this year, potentially. Again, like I said, last year they expected wins from their performance was 6.3. So I am going Lions first, also double-digit wins. Vikings 8.5, 9, right around 500. I think the Packers do still get close to 500, and I think the Bears are going to be the last place team in their division. I don't think I still think it goes Lions, Vikings, Packers, Bears, but yeah, not really feeling it from my man Kirk Cousins, or your man Kirk Cousins.
I do like that. Did we just go chalk Lions to win a division?
We did.
Yes, but they're plus 140. So if you're
Good
big on the
value.
Lions,
Who's the
plus
favorite? The
odds.
Vikings?
Nope, Lions at plus 140.
It's like the
Oh,
Bills.
oh.
The Bills are the favorites at plus 135.
Okay, interesting. All right, we need to
But
move on.
I like over, like I said, double digits for the Lions. So if the win total, if you can get plus money also for double digit wins, I don't hate that either. That way you don't have to worry about them winning the division at all. You just got to worry about them winning games. So
Fair.
All right, fair enough. Let's move on to the NFC South. Do we have to? This might be the worst division.
I mean,
This
NFC
might be-
second, dude.
this is going to be the worst division to watch all season. But if you want any excitement in betting for a team to win the division, this is the one. This is the division you want to pick, because every game that doesn't matter is going to matter if you have money on it. And
Literally,
that's how gambling excitement works. That's how you
People
get
who
a casual gambler invested in sports gambling.
The people who get their rocks off sweating bets are frothing at the mouth at the NFC South.
oh, this is the division for you. No, listen, it's personified in. I was reminded of this game when we were watching the quarterback documentary on Netflix. If you haven't watched it, I think it's worth it. It was a lot of fun. Marcus Mariota, it was one of the three quarterbacks that they chronicled last year, along with my guys, Kirk Cousins and Patrick Mahomes. And they singled out the Falcons game where DJ Moore caught that long touchdown at the end of the game and then ripped off his helmet. So they moved the PAT back. And I don't remember which side of it I was on. I just know that Carl was on the other side and live recorded the play on Snapchat, sent it to me. And how did you say my name? It was like a Patrick.
I said, suck
And
my
then you-
balls, Pat Bradley.
That's pretty much what you said. And laughed at me, and I was devastated. And you won that week, as you did most weeks.
Yep.
And won that game. So listen, it's that type of crap-tastic play personified that we're going to get in the NFC South. So
Is there a
ahead.
prop bet involved of just like, will the winner of this division have a 500 or better record?
there genuinely
There should be.
There should be. I'll tell you right now, the odds to win the NFC South are not great. So we have the Saints favored at plus 105, actually better than the Lions. I guess somebody's got to win, right? Falcons plus 200, Panthers plus 500. And I'm going to be honest, this one's a little bit baffling to me. The Buccaneers plus 1,000.
Their roster got ripped to shreds.
I guess enough guys left. Okay.
I mean, let's be honest. It's really about like one specific guy leaving.
Who would that be?
Tom
Don't say
Brady.
it. I can't talk about it.
But you know who is the quarterback? Baker
Giselle left the
Mayfield.
team.
Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask? Did we determine that yet? Is it Baker? Did he win?
Baker won the job. Yeah, they put out a little graphic.
My favorite was how long they didn't know that was going to be the case. And so for first string on the depth chart, they put Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask. Kyle Trask was listed in second string, but it was Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask for the starter for a long time. So that was interesting. All right, Tommy, let's go through this division quickly. What do we got?
So for this division, I'm just going to follow the strategy of keep it simple, stupid. And with so much uncertainty, I'm just going to go with the best team with the best quarterback. And for me, it's the Saints having Derek Carr. And so I'm going to pick the Saints to win this division. It's going to be tough to determine an order of where everything else falls after that, because, like I said, there's just so much shrouded in mystery about where everybody else falls. Like it could be like a 3-way tie of like 6 and 11 teams after that.
That's generous.
Yeah, that's fair. That is generous. So I'm going to have the Saints as my winner. I guess I'll go with the Falcons second because they probably have the most pieces, even though the Falcons have a history of drafting dynamic offensive pieces and then not using them at all. So Falcons second, Panthers third. I'm just going to go with the chalk. Falcons second, Panthers third, Bucks last for that division. But yeah, I would be Derek Carr is the best QB out of the 4 QBs in that division. So I'm going to follow that logic, and that leads me to my conclusion.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of your points. But with it being a little bit of a coin flip, I'm actually going to take the Falcons at plus 200. I don't think either team that makes the playoffs representing this division is going to win their playoff game. I think it's going to go to a wild card team. But if we're taking odds specifically, I'm going to take the Falcons. Again, totally a toss up, but I'll take the double odds for the betting. And looking at like my rankings and strength of schedule, I have the Falcons and the Saints as the top 2 easiest schedules. Both average opponent rank is 22. Their average opponent rank that they play is the 22nd team in the league. Wow. They have 13. Both of them. It's consistent because they're in the same division, so they play a lot of the same teams. They play 13 games against bottom half of the league opponents, again, according to my rankings. And the Saints play 6, the Falcons play 7 games versus tier 4 opponents, which are ranked 27 to 32. And that is because they play, again, the Panthers, the Bucks twice. They play each other. Right. So those rankings kind of manipulate a little bit. But it's an easy schedule for the both of them, but they're not good teams in themselves in their own rights. So I'm thinking honestly, like whoever wins this, I think wins it under double-digit wins. It's like 8 or 9 wins is going to take this division. So I'll go Falcons, Saints, Panthers, Bucks. But again, with a toss-up, I would understand if the Saints can win this division, but if we're going just purely based on odds and a coin flip, I'll take 200 over 100 every day.
I really want Pat to rip off a shirt and reveal like a creamsicle jersey underneath right now.
If Tom Brady was still here, it would be house money. Despite how, listen, the Bucks suck. They do. Their coach sucks. They don't have Tom Brady anymore. When your best option is Baker Mayfield, I don't know what to tell you. Unless we get like LA Rams, Sean McVay, Baker Mayfield, but spoiler alert, Sean McVay did not go with him to Tampa Bay, so I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't even think he was good with them, to be honest.
That's fair. It was more like a Baker renaissance because of how bad he's been, and how bad the Rams were, that he made them even slightly watchable and fun and competitive. And kind of an indictment on the teams that are playing, like the Bucks, to keep those games close in the first place. So I'm going to go Saints. I like Carl's logic on the value. So like, I'm probably not going to bet this division, although I don't hate plus odds, even though it's basically even for the Saints. Are the Falcons better? Is it worth a risk if you're going to do that? Sure. Yeah. Plus 200 is better, but for the sake of the pick, I'm going to take the Saints, clearly the best defense in this division. I guess I'll go with the Falcons second. I don't like the Bucks, but I'm going to take them third because I just think the Panthers are really bad. And they went from, I don't know, like I actually don't hate Frank Reich. Is that how you say his last name? Reich, as a coach, but he's an offensive guy. He's a quarterback guy. And here's the problem. Bryce Young still just has not looked good. So I don't think Bryce Young is a bust by any means. It's far too early to even suggest that. I do think he has a good career potential ahead of him, but I just don't think it's going to happen this year. So I think the Panthers are finishing dead last in a position to trade out from the number 1 overall pick because they don't need to do that anymore because they have Bryce Young. Whether or not that's a mistake, we'll talk about that next season on the 3-Man Rush podcast. So give me the Saints, the Falcons, the Bucks, and then the Panthers. I think that's the first time as well that we have not had at least 2 of us agree on an order. So
I will say if that comes to
Go figure.
fruition and they choose to trade out of Caleb Williams in favor of Bryce Young, that would be an organizational suicide. Caleb Williams is like the next Joe Burrow.
Listen, we could litigate this, but we need to move on.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
I would love to
I
talk
just
about-
had to have an aside.
I would love to talk about teams that are going to finish in last place because my pick would not be the Panthers. I don't know if that's where you're going with that, but we can save that for a little bit later because I have an opinion.
Please. Yeah, please.
Yeah, the Cardinals are going like 1-16.
No comment.
All right, we're going to move on to the NFC West here to wrap up our
McCoy.
Yeah.
But Pat Bradley loves Kyler Murray.
I don't love his knee that's just been torn to shreds. I can tell you that much. So NFC West, it's the 49ers division to lose with all due respect to the Seattle Seahawks. Sounds like Brock Purdy is back and has won the job. Trey Lance is no longer. Carl, can we tell a funny story? Am I allowed to like share personal information about you? You know what I'm talking about.
People named Trey.
Yes, like people named Trey. I thought this was really funny. You sent us, now I need to pull it up. You edited like a SportsCenter graphic where, who was it? John Lynch basically said, like, we love Trey. We're not trading Trey. He's going to be here. It was, quote, we're very happy with Trey. The most likely option is that he's here. And then you edited your newborn son's picture in there and put your picture over John Lynch. It was very funny. It was really good. Said new dad, Carl Mann.
Yes.
And then promptly, like in less than 24 hours, Trey Lance was traded away.
To the Cowboys.
I think it was later that day.
I think it was. It was perfect timing for you because it would have been slightly irrelevant just a few hours later. So I thought that was really funny. You know how I felt about Brock Purdy last year. There's some smart football people that went back, and I'm just kind of parroting some things I've read on the interwebs, that went back and watched every single snap that Purdy played last year and essentially called him the luckiest quarterback alive. And Carl, I feel like both of you would probably relatively agree with that. Certainly, listen, Captain Checkdown, and when you have a team of dynamic playmakers like the 49ers, you can do that, right? To have that coaching staff, I think, just helps elevate like the mental floor for you and take out some of the anxiety of being a pro. So good on Kyle Shanahan for being able to do that for his quarterbacks, for Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant. But yeah, I don't think the Seahawks or anybody else are really going to contend. So it's pretty simple for me. 49ers run away with this one. Seahawks are contending for a playoff spot once again. I don't think they'll be terrible. I don't know if they're going to be as good as they were last year, but I don't think they're going to be terrible. Like, unless we call like 6 wins terrible. I mean, I think like the floor is 6-7 wins for them, right? Without looking at their strength of schedule. And then you want to talk about competing for that number 1 overall pick. Is Cooper Kupp going to play? Is Matt Stafford going to have a magical elbow injury and ride off into the sunset like Steven Strasburg style? The quote on his wife's podcast this week saying, Matt just doesn't know how to connect to his younger teammates. He can't remember their names. I'm sorry. Like, are you 80-something-year-old Joe Biden or like 35-year-old Matt Stafford trying to play football for a living? I mean, that's rough when you have your wife.
If you do brain scans on a mid-30s football player, it might equal an 80-year-old regular human.
That's fair. I mean, literally, Stafford under center might be going full Mitch McConnell, zoning out. Sorry, that's enough politics for one podcast.
We hit both sides.
Yeah, he just, I mean, I don't have anything nice to say, and I'm going to venture into inappropriate territory. So we'll leave it at the Mitch McConnell comparison. But I think the Rams are in serious contention for the number 1 overall pick. They were horrific last year, albeit due to injury, but I don't think things look better this year. And I think Sean McVay and everybody with the Rams is going to be happy to cash checks right off into the sunset and reset. And maybe Sean McVay won't even be there when that happens. Like this could be the final season for Sean McVay, Aaron Donald, and Matt Stafford. Not just in LA, like in football. So all I'm saying is I don't think the Rams are going to be good. They're going to have competition because the Cardinals are going to be really, really bad. So if I have to pick, at least the Rams have a quarterback right now. So I guess I'll go 49ers, Seahawks, Rams, Cardinals. But I don't feel great about it. They're going to compete for the number 1 overall pick. 1, 2 wins, 3, maybe max. I don't know. So that's where I think it's at.
Yeah, I want to circle back to the beginning, what you were talking about with Brock Purdy. And
My guy.
believe your information to be accurate. I didn't read the information that you read, but I believe you. You have reliable sources on the internet.
Yes, I do. Twitter,
so
X.
What I was thinking when you were saying that, and again, this is a crazy thing to throw out there, but Tom Brady, early 2000s,
You're two.
check down king, great defense, like the
comparison.
49ers, West Coast style offense. Just get the ball out of your hands, get it to the playmakers. Good running game. I mean, excellent running game, I would say, for Christian McCaffrey.
For sure, yeah.
And Elijah Mitchell.
Right. So, like, Deebo Samuel, is he coming back and running the ball now? I mean, hopefully they don't let him run up the middle, but
He'll do both.
so I'm thinking, like, again, they're going to be a team that is going to be in contention, regardless of who's at quarterback, in my opinion, as long as that quarterback can get the ball to the right people. They didn't almost win a game without a quarterback. But I think if they had known they weren't going to have a quarterback in that last game, they might have still been able to contend if they had gone into it game planning to have like Kyle Juszczyk as the the quarterback.
I think the story, I might be getting the quarterback wrong.
Speaking of dollar store Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, I think Phillip Rivers was on speed dial and they had been talking to him. And if it hadn't happened mid-game, Phillip Rivers might have signed like a 2-week contract. And candidly, they probably should have done that for the playoffs.
Yep.
Like sign him to the practice squad at least. Like, sheesh. Anyway,
yeah.
so,
with the new rules, obviously, like they'll be able to have a backup. So it's
right.
Backup. But it's fine. So, but I'm in agreement. I think it's 49ers easily. I think it's Seahawks borderline double digits. Like slightly over 500. Rams, Cardinals bringing up the rear, like less than 5 wins, probably total between the two.
So you like the Seahawks actually even more than I do.
Yeah, I mean the Seahawks like 9.5 wins is where I have them projected at. It's
interesting. Okay.
If I'm looking at like overall standings for the NFC, like where, or like not just the NFC, but like in the whole league, like where are they ranked for me? They're 22nd question mark. Let me see where I have them. Overall wins. Yeah. I mean, they're middle of the road. There's teams that are better than them. There's teams that are not good. In the NFC, they're like smack dab in the middle. So
listen, right now, top 10, 8th easiest schedule in football. Over under Vegas, 8.5 wins, and they're favored to go over that. So you're right on par with what the big boys say, Carl.
So with the strength of schedule that you're looking at, you have them, or that thing has them ranked at what?
8th easiest.
Okay. Yeah, I have them ranked personally as the 16th strength of schedule. And again, that's my personal stuff.
Sure.
I have them at like 9 games versus the top half, 8 games versus the bottom half, pretty even split, 5-4, 5-3 versus like the different tiers. Of like, I mean, it's not even, the tiers aren't evenly broken up, like 1 through 8, 8 through just like whatever. So I have like the top tiers and the bottom tiers like a little bit more spread out. But that being said, like I have a slightly different ranking system than that. So for me, I think like again, everything is just like right down the middle. They're not gonna play an easy schedule, not gonna play a hard schedule. They're not gonna win crazy games versus like the great teams, but they're also not gonna lose the games against the bad teams. So I think they just kind of hold their own and like ride the wave throughout the season. And I don't think they're gonna pop off and surprise anyone like they did last year.
See, I'm in agreement with that because the way that I see it is just like both conferences are kind of wide open, but in different aspects. Because the AFC, there's a glut of competitive teams, whereas the NFC there isn't really a lot of competitive teams, and somebody has to fill in that vacuum of wins. Whereas like I see the Eagles and the 49ers as like the top dogs, and then after that, I honestly think the Seahawks are probably the third best team in the conference. So I just feel like that there has to be a third team that gets to double-digit wins, and I feel like they're the best bet. Maybe somebody in the North, but if it's not them, like I would assume that the Seahawks are right up there with them. So I agree with that. I think the 49ers are easily going to win the division. I think that even though I do agree that Brock is probably going to be the weak link on offense, he probably was the luckiest quarterback, and that's why everything just went to crap right at the end because all that luck ran out as a team in that conference championship game against the Eagles. And then I do have the Seahawks, and then right after that I have the Rams and then the Cardinals, because the Cardinals right now, their quarterback battle is a 5th-round rookie and a guy that they acquired from the Browns after the 3rd preseason game. That's their quarterback battle. That's insane to me. like
It's really bad.
That's just blatant tanking. Like there's going to be like Kyler's going to get close, and then there's going to be some sort of setback. And it's just going to be clear that I think their win total right now is over under 2.5, which is the lowest and I can remember. They might go defeated. Yeah.
What is Kyler Murray's expected return? Does he have a timeline?
They probably haven't put one out because they don't want to.
I think.
Well, I'm just wondering. Also, is there another like Call of Duty coming out in October that like he?
Oh yeah, every year.
So like his deadline to return is probably like week 4 on like the pup list or something, but then like it's gonna get extended till like end of October, November, so they can he can have a few extra weeks playing the game.
Got to get through the campaign first.
Right.
God
exactly.
forbid there's ever like a Kyler Murray skin. We'll never see him again.
Hey, they just got Nicki Minaj like last week.
Listen, if we can get like.
This is going to become an esports podcast.
If we can get FaZe Clan on Kyler, we wouldn't have to watch him play football anymore.
Shout out Banks.
Okay. Lovely. So you're going 49ers,
Seahawks, Rams, Cardinals.
All right. Chalk for us. Chalk all the way. Great. All right. So we've gone division by division now. So we're going to call back to our AFC podcast in part 1. Let me run down for you guys what we had. So in the AFC East, Tommy and Carl picked the Bills to win the division. I picked the Jets, believe it or not. Crazy. In the AFC North, Carl and I like the Bengals to win. Tommy picked the Ravens in a close duel. In the AFC South, we all agreed on the Jaguars and everyone else being a dumpster fire. And in the AFC West, we all like the Chiefs. Maybe a dumpster fire after that. You just heard us talk about the NFC, but quickly, we all agree on the Eagles. We all agree on the Lions. 2 of us like the Saints. Carl likes the Falcons because they've got better betting odds. And we all like the 49ers to win the division. So there are 8 of the 14 NFL playoff teams for us. So if you want, why don't I start so that you guys can make sure that you have your teams put together, and I will give you my playoff teams. We'll start there. Fair? So we're going to talk who's our wild cards, who's going to make the playoffs, are there other teams that we think are good, can sneak in there. So for me, in the AFC, Jets, Bengals, Jaguars, Chiefs. Those are my 4 division winners. very close follow. Could have a better record as a wild card than one of the division winners. We have the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens, which leaves one playoff spot, which I think comes down to essentially the Chargers, the Patriots. Sorry, Dolphins fans, don't believe in it. The Chargers, the Patriots, maybe the Titans, because I'm going to be stupid to overlook them, but I agreed earlier that it's probably a dumpster fire. I guess I'm going to bet on Bill Belichick and be a homer over Brandon Staley and Justin Herbert. I mean, listen, like, is Keenan Allen going to break his spine, like getting out of bed tomorrow?
It's never a good thing when your arguments are based on people getting hurt as not.
But see, if you had done it from a lens of like they were in a win and in situation with a Matt Patricia led offense and they don't have that this year.
Yeah, that would have been the better argument. That would have been the better argument. I just like to detract. Like I said it earlier in part one, the Chargers are in prove it to me mode. They're just not as good as like the Bills in that over. Like the Bills are good. They just have to get over the hump. The Chargers are wasting prime early years of Justin Herbert. So I don't know.
Who are your 6 or 7?
So division winners, Jets. Where'd I go? Jets.
What's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? You have like a prediction for like who's going to get the bye? What are you thinking?
Really good. Why don't you come back to me? I'm gonna pass on that. I'm gonna lock in the Patriots as my final AFC playoff team. Call me crazy. Vegas hates that. I'm gonna lose. I'm gonna get blown out, but it's more fun to root for your own team. Do you want to do AFC or do you want me to do NFC?
I can run through my AFC.
All right, go ahead.
So division winners, I have Buffalo, Cincinnati, Jacksonville, Kansas City. Not in that order for 1, 2, 3, 4. I think Kansas City gets the number 1 seed, like eking out the Bengals. I guess my shocking, maybe not actually shocking, but I think the Bills actually fall to the 4 seed. I think it goes Chiefs, Bengals, Jaguars, Bills for my 1, 2, 3, 4 division leaders. Wild card spots. I think I talked about the Ravens earlier in the AFC North. I think the Bengals do take that division, but I think the Ravens still get above double digits. So I have the Ravens coming in at number 5, and then the same thing with the Jets and the Bills. I think, like I said, I think that it's going to be a closer division up at the top for the AFC East, which again we talked about before being a tough division. So I still have the Bills getting in at 4 and the Jets getting in at 6. And then, like you were saying, like for me, the Jets, Chargers, and Dolphins were kind of like that, like last couple teams in, like fighting for spots towards the end of the season. And for me, I'm going to go Chargers. That might be some sort of chalk there, but in order, I have Chiefs, Bengals, Jaguars, Bills. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. And I do think that they have the top 4 records of the conference also. No surprises. It's not like we're getting a division winner that has less wins than a wild card team. And then Ravens, Jets, Chargers for me, with the Dolphins just missing. And surprisingly, I have the Browns just missing also.
So we have the same number 1 overall seed. I have the Chiefs at the top seed. I have the Jaguars too, just based off the division that they're in their schedule. I think that they will unlock. I think the other 2 divisions will eat themselves alive a little bit, where their records will just cancel out, and that'll cost them some games. So I have the Jaguars locking up that second bye. I have the Ravens at the 3 seed, then the Bills at the 4 seed. Bengals are my easy lock for that first top wild card seed. Then I have the Dolphins. I think Tua does stick it out long enough, and I think they have a talented enough roster. So give me the Dolphins, and then that last spot comes down to the Chargers or the Patriots for me. I think them bringing in the new offensive coordinator, I think that does enough for me to push the Chargers over. Part of me kind of hopes that Brandon Staley is the first coach fired, because if that happens, that could propel them to a playoff spot. In my ideal situation, that's exactly what happens.
I like the way you think.
So if say like they fire Brandon Staley, Kellen Moore just gets promoted immediately from OC to head
I was
coach.
just gonna say, do you feel good about head coach Kellen Moore?
I mean, I feel better about that than head coach Brandon Staley.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
And then I have the Patriots just missing out, even though they are an improved team from last year, and they were in a win and in situation. They were for a hot second in a win and in situation last year, and they are in a better roster and coaching situation. But I think all these other teams also got better. They just didn't get enough better to me.
Okay, so your order was Chiefs,
Jags, Ravens, Bills, Bengals, Dolphins, Chargers.
Jags over Ravens and Bills.
Just based on the division they play on, like they have more easy wins available to them.
Okay, all right. Bengals, Dolphins, Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
If we are we going to be able to talk about some other props? We're going to have time to talk about more props after we run through this, you think? Or do you want me to make my kind of bold prediction on something from the AFC really quick?
Give it to me. Give it to me. I don't want to forget.
So most wins on the season, not just AFC, but on the season, Kansas City is at plus 400. And I think we all agree that they're going to be the number one seed in the AFC, correct? They might end up being the number one overall in the NFL with most wins. My value is on Jacksonville. It's exactly what Tommy said. They have one of the easier strengths of schedule. They're not going to be competing with anybody. There's a chance that, like Tommy said, like other people vulture on each other from the West and from the AFC North. And obviously, again, this is across the league, but my value is on Jacksonville plus 1,500 to have the best record in the league. So you have the Chiefs at plus 400, but if you think Jacksonville is going to be like the number 2 team, which you think that they're at least top 4, maybe top 3 of the NFL, why not take plus 1,500 on having the most wins in the NFL?
That's not a bad idea. $50 get you $750.
There you go.
That's pretty spicy. I like that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Remember,
we did call the Eagles last year, going first 10 games undefeated.
We did do that.
We did.
Okay. And now I need to find like most wins. What do you have for? All right. I'm just going to give you this. Here's my most wins prop because I'm not. So for the NFC, I think I'm still going to take the Eagles. But if we want to look at value, Carl, what's the value on the 49ers? Because based on this little strength of schedule here, 49ers, 4th easiest. Clearly the best team among those with an easy strength of schedule. As long as Brock Purdy has an elbow and isn't horrendous, I like them a lot. And to your point earlier, Tommy, not a ton of competition in the NFC.
They also have what football players consistently say is the best football player in the league in Trent Williams.
There you go.
Ask any NFL player. They always say like best pure football player is always Trent Williams.
Yep.
Yeah.
Helps.
Most wins for the season, 49ers plus 800.
Not terrible value. I don't hate that.
No.
Okay.
I mean, if you think that they're going to be up there, I mean, it goes Chiefs at plus 400, Eagles at plus 500, and then without giving the odds, it's Bills, Bengals, 49ers at plus 800, Cowboys plus 11, Ravens plus 12, Jaguars plus 15. And then it goes like Saints, Seahawks, Lions, like plus 2,000 something. So for me, like I said, like if we think Jacksonville is going to be one of the top teams in the AFC, there's a chance that they could be the top team overall.
Sure.
So I'm taking, again, plus 1,500 is really good odds. You don't even have to throw that much money on it, and you'll still get a huge return. So
love it. Okay, then I'm gonna take 49ers for most wins. Tommy, give us yours in a moment, but while I'm still running my mouth here, let me give you my AFC order. I'm going to go Chiefs, Bengals, Jags, Jets. Jets, Jags. Chiefs, Bengals, Jets, Jags. Sorry, Carl. In that order. And then we're going to go Bills, Ravens, Patriots for my wild card teams. So that's my standings. Terrific. Let's jump over to the NFC. Tommy, do you want to lead us off and maybe give us your best record in the NFL prop while we run through the NFC teams?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna follow you because I would say the 49ers would be my pick. I like the value of the Jaguars, but I can't go against my own list of when I have them as the 2 seed. I can't then also say
sure.
Totally.
I do like the value that if you just want to throw like a little sprinkle on there as like a future, you might as well. If you want to, I would definitely like consider throwing them as like the number one seed in the AFC because I think that their easy schedule is like conducive to that. But to go with the 49ers, be thinking that they would have the best record in the NFL, the most wins in the league. They are my number one seed in the NFC, followed by the Eagles, then the Lions, then the Saints, then the Seahawks, then we have the Giants and the Cowboys. So I am running back the NFC beast that we had last year. I don't know how I feel about that. I thought about the Vikings instead of the Cowboys, but I just see the Vikings taking a bigger step back. So 3 teams from the NFC East once again in the playoffs for me.
I'm glad you said that and I made you do that first because I would have completely screwed this up. This is tough. So I'm going to stick to my guns here because I said I'm not in love with the Seahawks. Maybe it's the strength of schedule thing, Carl, that I'm going to regret here because Vegas sees something that I guess I'm not. I don't know. I think they probably overperformed last year. So I'm going to go I guess I just told you 49ers for best record. So I'll say 49ers, then the Eagles, Lions, Saints. Those are my division winners. And then Vikings and Giants going to fight for that 5 spot. And I told you earlier that the Giants are going to finish better in the division than the Cowboys. But I still think the Cowboys should be good enough to sneak in. I think they'll be better than the Seahawks. So I have the Cowboys there at number 7, my final playoff team. So 49ers, Eagles, Lions, Saints, Vikings, Giants, Cowboys. Somebody's got to win.
Word. Yeah. See, I'm kind of mad that you took the Vikings there, to be honest, where you did. What did you put them at? 5?
I'm at 5.
They're my top wild card.
That's a stretch, I feel like. But I thought I was going to be alone having them sneak into the playoffs. I actually have the Eagles number 1 with San Francisco being a close number 2. That to me does feel like a toss-up, but for me, just a slight edge for Philadelphia. Then the Lions at number 3. Falcons was my NFC South team that I had making it, so that's why they're number 4. Obviously, you guys had the Saints, so that's. But I have the Cowboys having a more wins than them, so I'm having the Cowboys at number 5. I have the Seahawks with more wins than the Falcons. I have them at number 6, and then for the 7 spot, I have like a 4-way fight to the death between the Vikings, Giants, Packers, and Saints. Again, whoever gets that 7 spot to me is not going to go anywhere in the playoffs unless something crazy happens. But I have the Vikings being the one that sneak in. So I thought I was gonna shock the podcast world with the Vikings sneaking in after I talked so much shit about Kirk Cousins. But yeah, give them to me at number 7 as kind of like a throwaway wildcard team.
Needless to say, I like that. Give me your list in order one more time.
Yeah, for sure. So we're gonna go Eagles, Niners, Lions, Falcons with 9 wins at number 4 because they're the division winner. And then Cowboys, Seahawks with more wins than the Falcons, but because they're in the wild card because they didn't win their division. And then the Vikings at 7.
I like it. Okay.
You do.
There you have it. Those are our playoff teams. Did I give you mine? I did.
You did.
I told you about the Vikings. Okay.
I want to talk about fewest wins if we can, because we wrapped up the AFC with most wins. I think
this is my stone cold lock.
There we go, stone cold lock of the century. So I obviously told you how, like, for me, the 7th seed was a toss up of teams that were like getting 8 wins. I think the NFC is by far the worst, or I guess compared to 2 conferences, but they are the lesser of the 2 conferences, in my opinion, and I think in a lot of our opinions. So I do think that the worst team is going to come from that. The odds for Arizona is plus 220, which is, I don't know if that's Tommy's stone cold lock, but my value pick would be the Washington Commanders at maybe 2 wins on the season, one of them coming against the Cardinals potentially. I don't know if that'll come to effect with a tiebreaker, but they play each other the first week of the season. I think that you can get Commanders at plus 1,000 as the worst team. So that's where my value is going to be.
Wow. And you said Cardinals is plus 220?
Cardinals is plus 220 to be the worst regular season team. If
Again,
you're looking,
their starting quarterback battle is a 5th-round rookie and a guy they traded for from the Browns that didn't play in the preseason for them.
listen, again, we're talking about who is going to have the most or the fewest wins, most losses, fewest wins. I do think that it's going to be the Cardinals. However, I think if you're looking at value, the Commanders at plus 1,000 is my next best pick. It's my Jaguars value pick. It's the Commanders here for the fewest at plus 1,000. $10 to win 100. Can't pass that up.
So here's what I'll tell you. I'm going back and forth because I want it to be the Rams, but the Cardinals exist. And then I was like, well, could this be a hot take and some value to pick the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? But I just told you that they're going to finish ahead of the Panthers in their division. So for consistency's sake, I guess it's down to I think it's the Panthers again. Did they get better? They just got the number 1 overall pick. Did they get better?
No,
I mean,
they took DJ Moore off their roster while taking a quarterback and didn't give him any weapons. They added Miles Sanders. That's about it.
I just
So that's fair.
like my gut says the Rams because like they will tank where like the Cardinals are tanking but are gonna get Kyler Murray back.
Are they?
And well, okay, so yeah, they could like fudge that. Oh, and he's got soreness and blah blah blah. I'll tell you this: I think it's going to be a competition between the Rams and the Cardinals, and the Panthers are going to have something to say about it.
That's fair.
And don't be shocked if the Bucks do too. I think everybody sucks at the end. But if I have to pick one, I'll just go Rams because you picked it. I'll go with the Rams for the sake of a pick.
Give me the Cardinals. I'll take the chalk for sure.
What do we have for odds? Do you still have those up, Carl? Rams, Bucks, Panthers.
I closed it out, but I know
fine.
that the Bucks were like plus 700. Rams, Texans were also right down there as the worst teams. If you can allow me to just stall for a few seconds, I can absolutely pull it up in a matter of seconds.
Toss some Jeopardy music in here.
Exactly. We don't even need that. We'll just talk. Fewest wins, Cardinals plus 200, which I think actually went down from the time that I wrote it down already today. 700 for the Bucks, 850 for the Texans, 950 for the Rams. You were looking at Panthers, they're plus 2,200. So if you like the Panthers, that's good value also. Plus 2,200.
All right.
I mean, I don't hate it. I don't love it. I mean, I don't think they're in the bottom. I mean, they're in the bottom 10, but I don't think they're close to the bottom 5. I still think there's other teams that are worse than that. I mean,
I feel like the problem with the Panthers and the Bucks is like the inverse of the division that they play in is that they might luck into some wins.
Sure.
That's completely fair. All right. While we're doing this, if we want to talk quickly, first coach fired, and then we can get into some fun stuff with our MVP, our conference champions, our Super Bowl champ.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna just lead us off.
Do some future talk for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna lead us off quickly. Todd Bowles, Buccaneers, which maybe that will hurt my worst record potential take. Maybe they'll get better when Todd Bowles gets fired. But he was bad last year. Nobody liked him last year. They're not going to be better this year. And I don't know if people are going to like him. I think the guy is a good positional coach, maybe coordinator, maybe. I don't think he's a good head coach. And we've seen that now time and time again. So Todd Bowles is my guy.
So I was deciding, I forget who Brandon Staley would be nice, but I don't think it's going to happen. My actual pick is Ron Rivera. It's been long enough that he's been there. So I think new ownership is going to look to make changes quickly. So if they get a chance to do it, it'll be Ron Rivera for me.
My semi-hot, super hot take would be the Titans only having a handful of wins this season and maybe Vrabel going halfway through the year. Would love to see him come back to the Patriots midway through the season to help out if the Patriots are starting to make a run. Just saying. Don't think it's going to happen, but I would love for it to happen. I think like he's got quote unquote the weapons there that he needs for an offense, and if they don't perform, and he's a defensive guy, and if they can't win games because of defense, then he could be on the hot seat. I mean, he's been there for enough years that he's no longer in like a honeymoon phase. They've been in a little bit of a decline, so this could be a year. They're building a new stadium for the next upcoming years, so they could be looking at a new coach to get them set up for the future while they move into a new stadium in like 2027, I think. So
New coach, new quarterback, Caleb Williams.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's a couple of years away, but if they want to start like, the Bill Belichick thing where they bring in that new coach because they know they're building a new future for everything, then this could be the time to turn it around if it doesn't go well.
Love it. All right. Let's do my favorite ever bet. We're going to talk about it every single week, ridiculously early. MVP. It is September 1st. We have not played a football game that matters yet. And I have a scorching hot MVP take.
I hope it's not the same as mine.
I bet it's not.
People keep
it's Kirk Cousins.
People keep saying this is finally Josh Allen's year. I told you in part one why I just still don't believe in the Bills. There's more things that concern me than make me feel good. Here's my safe bet. Okay? The MVP was Jalen Hurts' to lose last year until he missed a few games at the end of the season. And I still think he probably deserved it, with all due respect to my guy, Patrick Mahomes. Jalen Hurts somehow only has the fourth best MVP odds. He's plus 1,100 right now, behind Mahomes, Joe Burrow, and Josh Allen. Jalen Hurts is not my pick. Coming in at 8th overall, 16-1 odds, it's rejuvenated Aaron Rodgers.
Fuck off.
If you can bring the New York Jets back to glory, we already know from his defeat of Tom Brady 2 years ago that he doesn't have to be the best quarterback in football to win the award. Nobody cares that he chokes in the playoffs. They still give him the MVP award.
Well, it's MVP of the season, so playoffs don't really matter.
And Tom Brady was still better than him 2 years ago. I will be butthurt until the day I die. Put it on my gravestone. 2021 NFL MVP should have been Tom Brady, not Aaron Rodgers. And it has nothing to do with how much money I didn't win. Okay. But Aaron Rodgers, 16-1, 8th best odds to win the NFL MVP. Jets win 13 games. Maybe they get a bye. I don't know. I just told you they won't. But Aaron Rodgers, voters love him. They love his story. He looks like a great guy on Hard Knocks. Oh, God. It's predetermined.
That is going to be a
MVP. 5th MVP for Aaron Rodgers. Gag me. It's going to happen. That's my
before Tommy jumps in and gives his, I want to steal it before he can.
You asshole.
I like Aaron Rodgers also at plus 1,600. Another guy I like at plus 1,600 is my man Trevor Lawrence.
Motherfucker.
I knew that was Tommy.
Oh, sorry, Tommy. Guess again. That's why I wanted to jump in. I knew you were going to steal it. He's going to have padded stats from a terrible strength of schedule, terrible division. Again, I talked about them being one of the better teams in the league, potentially even being the most wins. At plus 1,600. It's definitely going to be a quarterback. I think we can all agree on that. I made reference to maybe, who was it, Zeke or Derrick Henry a couple of years ago, someone that was going to pop off and take it as a running back, and they let me down. But yeah, Trevor Lawrence at plus 1,600 also. I do like Aaron Rodgers. Basically, well, I don't like Aaron Rodgers, but for the MVP,
Aaron Rodgers' mom doesn't like Aaron Rodgers. It doesn't mean he's not going to win.
His whole family.
The voters love him. That's what matters.
Well, the thing is, like, the Jets were the worst team in the division, and if they can make a run into the playoffs,
worst to first.
Right. I don't think they're going worst to first, but they will be one of the most improved teams, and that's obviously going to give some benefit to the quarterback and MVP conversation. So
Joe Namath is going to like donate a freaking.
So it's up to you, Tommy. Who's your pick for MVP?
No, I'm not going off it. I'm still sticking with Trevor Lawrence. I'm not picking somebody different. We got year 2 of the Doug Peterson offense. We got Tank, we got the two-headed running back of ETN, Tank Bigsby. We got Calvin Ridley coming back. We still have Christian Kirk there. We have another year of Evan Ingram. He's got weapons for days. We have
Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, year 3 is where quarterbacks take the leap. Year 2 under the same coach is where quarterbacks take a step forward. He's still only 23. We're going to see a meteoric rise. This is going to be the season that everybody is just like, oh, this is where the hype where Trevor Lawrence was a sophomore in high school came from. Trevor Lawrence, MVP, lock it in. I'm not going to go stone cold as Arizona #1 overall pick, but it's pretty damn close.
It doesn't matter.
1,500. I have the bet in already. 1,500 to whatever it is, plus 1,500 odds.
Nice, love it. Okay, great, boys. Shocking. We have been talking for too long, so let's. I think we all know who we like here. So let's quickly run through our Final Four. Who's our conference champions? Who makes it to the Super Bowl? And we'll stop there and we'll give our Super Bowl champion after. Fair?
Fair.
Great. I'm going to go first. We're getting 49ers Eagles again, baby. Give it to me. And this time, Brock Purdy gets it done. Or maybe Phil Rivers. But the 49ers are going to the Super Bowl. And we get Bengals, Chiefs, round 4, unless they play in the regular season, maybe it's round 5. I don't even know. Bengals, Chiefs. And this one's tough. But I'm going with Mahomes. So it's going to be a 49ers, Chiefs, Super Bowl. Tommy, Carl, who you got? Who's your Final Four?
So I'm really bad at choosing I have my Super Bowl matchup. I'm really bad at choosing the conference finals, but I'm going to go with in the AFC. I have Ravens, Bills in the conference because I just think that this is put up or shut up year for the Bills. If not, then I'm out on them forever. They're on the ban list. For the NFC Conference Championship game, we have the 49ers, and we have 49ers Eagles. It's too easy. There's nobody else that I feel like can really step up and challenge those two teams for the crown. So run it back, 49ers Eagles, and I think we're gonna have a 49ers Ravens Super Bowl.
Wow.
Interesting. Hot take. Ravens. Okay.
Yep.
My pick is honestly probably chalk, but again, I just run everything through the numbers and it spits out the data for me. So I've got 49ers Eagles and Bengals Chiefs. And did you know that the last time a Super Bowl was repeated was 93-94? And that was 30 years ago, I guess. So we haven't seen repeat Super Bowls in back-to-back years in quite some time. Teams
drum roll.
Teams do get to the Super Bowl, and like in consecutive years, like the Patriots have done it, the Broncos have done it a few times, Seahawks, all that stuff. So teams do go back-to-back to the Super Bowl. But I'm also having the Eagles lose to the Chiefs again for the second straight year. So we're seeing a Super Bowl rematch with another tightly contested matchup. If you want the final score, I have it so close, 27-28. Obviously, that's a way too early prediction for a Super Bowl score, but I do think it's going to be close, just like it was last year. But the Chiefs still win it, and they become back-to-back champions for the first time since Patriots.
Tommy, who wins in your 49ers Ravens Super Bowl?
I have the 49ers beating the Ravens in a fake Harbaugh Bowl.
Do you think he could get fired from Michigan by then and maybe go join San Francisco?
No. With the way that he has defended his school during this whole suspension, there's no way that they're firing him. There's no way he's leaving.
Fair enough. Chiefs, Niners. I mean, God, how am I gonna pick Brock Purdy over Pat Mahomes? Give me the Chiefs. Chiefs over the Niners in the Super Bowl. Sorry, Carl.
I'm the lone dissenter.
We all like it. This was my pick last year too. If we remember,
It was.
I was kind of on Bengals 49ers for a while too. I think I had like a pretty nice line on a bet there, and then it fell through for me. But Chiefs Niners, finally get to see it. I like it.
One last little quick prediction. Look a little sprinkle on a Nick Chubb for offensive player of the year. Just check those little odds.
I like it. Okay. Wonderful. Well, that is your 2023 NFL season preview. Football's here, boys.
Hey,
Let's go.
finally took a long
We're
enough.
back, baby.
We are back. Better than ever.
Ayo. Week 1 will be here soon enough.
Thursday night. Cannot wait. Do we have a quick little teaser? Or are we gonna save that?
Let's save our picks for the next podcast. Let's save those
okay.
for the next one.
See if the line straightens out a little bit.
All right. We're gonna have some news for you this week. So follow us on the socials. You know where to find us at 3Man Rush, Pat Bradley 99, K-Man 912, Tom SA 592 on all the socials. Edit that out if you don't want it in there. I don't really know.
I do want it on there.
Yeah, get
I'm
my
actually-
followers up
Keep
to
it.
100.
I'm Pat Bradley _, not Pat Bradley 99. Not on Twitter X. So anyway, go football, man. Let's go. Go sports.
Go Pigskin.
Go, baby.
Good luck
Time to-
good luck with your futures at your local sports book.
That's right. Trevor Lawrence, baby. Jaguars, put it in the books.
Wow.
Gag me. Oh yeah.